Power has one dangerous habit. It convinces its owner that it will last forever. History repeatedly reminds us that kingdoms rarely collapse because of enemies outside their walls. They often collapse because those entrusted with power begin to fear truth more than they fear failure. This is the story of one such kingdom. It is an allegory, not about Nigeria, not about one government, not about APC, not even about any ruler in Nigeria. I mean, not about Tinubu or allies. But this is about every leader who mistakes authority for immortality. A powerful king once ruled a prosperous black kingdom. His palace glittered with wealth. His soldiers feared him. His ministers praised him. Even the Senate and the judiciary calls him Majesty. The agencies and law enforcers obeyed him. To everyone around him, he looked untouchable. Yet there was one man whose authority stood above even the throne. He was known simply as the Kingmaker. He neither wore a crown nor commanded an army. Yet kings existed because he approved them. His influence stretched beyond politics and beyond the ambitions of powerful men. His name is not INEC or tribunal. His authority came from wisdom, tradition, and the confidence of the ancestors who entrusted him with preserving the future of the kingdom. He was not appointed by anyone but by divinity. One morning, the kingmaker sent his chief priest to the palace. The messenger carried no weapon, only a warning. He stood before the king and calmly declared, "Put your house in order. In 182 days, you shall no longer reign as king." The palace fell silent. The king understood the seriousness of the message. If the kingmaker had spoken, the decision had already been made. He dismissed the priest respectfully. But once darkness covered the kingdom, he secretly ordered his guards to eliminate him. The king believed something simple. If the messenger disappeared, the message would disappear too. Days passed. The kingmaker waited. When his chief priest failed to return, he sent his closest friend. Again, the message remained unchanged. "Prepare yourself. In 170 days, your reign shall end." Again, the king listened. Again, he smiled. Again, he secretly had the messengers killed. The king became convinced he had discovered the solution to every uncomfortable truth. Silence the one who speaks it. When the kingmaker still heard nothing from those he trusted, concerns replaced patience. This time he sent his own first son, the strongest among his household, accompanied by loyal attendants. The message was shorter, more urgent. In 100 days, your time as king will come to an end. Put your house in order. The king saw not an opportunity for reflection, but another obstacle to remove. The prince and his entourage were ambushed. None returned, or so the king believed. Unknown to him, one attendant had been instructed to remain hidden. He watched everything. He returned to the kingmaker, carrying a heartbreaking report. Every messenger had been murdered, not because they lied, but because they spoke truth. As fear quietly entered the palace, the king's most beloved wife offered unexpected counsel. "If the kingmaker still possesses the power to remove you," she said, "then perhaps the only solution is to confront him directly." The king hesitated. According to ancient customs, no reigning king could stand casually before the kingmaker. After ascending the throne, such a meeting was considered sacred. The queen proposed a disguise. She would wear a heavy veil and accompany him as though she were his sister. Believing he had finally found a way to preserve his crown, the king agreed. On the evening of their visit, clouds gathered over the kingdom. The kingmaker received them without ceremony. No throne, no palace, no guards surrounding him. Only an elderly man seated beside a small fire. Before the king could speak, the old man looked at him with calm eyes. "My son," he said softly, "you have finally come." The king confessed what had troubled him. "You kept sending people to tell me my reign would end. You wanted to remove me. You wanted to shame me. I only wished to remain king. I feared losing everything." The old man listened quietly. Then he smiled. "My son, I never wanted your throne. I wanted your future." Silence settled over the chamber. The kingmaker continued. "I heard the cries of widows. I heard the voices of orphans. I heard the complaints of those whose lands were taken. I heard you are not the man of the people. I heard about the continuous ghost accounts looting the major kingdom's treasury. I heard the critics are in jeopardy. I heard the heavy taxes portioned for your people. I heard everything. I watched as power slowly consumed your conscience. I heard everything you did. So I sent my chief priest my voice. You paid him. I sent my closest friend, my heart. You brought him down. I sent my whole son, my blood. I saw how you make sure that he was unalived too." The king's hand trembled. Then the old man revealed the truth that shattered every assumption. "I never intended to destroy you. I intended to promote you. I wanted you to leave the throne with honor. I wanted you to sit beside me. I wanted you to become the next kingmaker." The king's knee weakened. His dagger slid from his hand. Everything he had fought to protect suddenly appeared meaningless. The throne he desperately clung to had only been temporary. The position prepared for him was far greater. The kingmaker looked into his eyes. Kings come and go, but kingmakers shape generations. You mistook succession for rejection. You mistook correction for hatred. You mistook wisdom for conspiracy. And because of fear, you murdered your own future. For the first time since wearing the crown, the king wept. "Forgive me." The old man nodded gently. "I already have, but forgiveness cannot erase consequences." Before day broke, both the king and his beloved wife disappeared into exile. Some said the ancestors carried them away. Others believed the kingdom itself rejected the weight of leadership built on fear and bloodshed. Whatever the truth, one lesson remained. The throne will find another occupant, but the kingmaker remained. This story is not merely about a king. It is about every leader who believes critics are enemies instead of mirrors. It is about government that silence journalists rather than answer difficult questions. Correct meaningless reforms to sanitize society. Where policing is not a threat to democracy and policies meet the need of the public. It is about institutions that punish whistleblowers instead of confronting corruption. It is about organizations that mistake loyalty for competence and obedience for wisdom. Most importantly, it is about ordinary people, you and me. because every society eventually decides whether it values messengers or fear them. But the truth is that it can reflect the direction that can shape the future. History teaches a consistent lesson. Silencing truth does not destroy truth. It only delays the moment when reality finally arrives. A leader who eliminates those bearing uncomfortable news may enjoy temporary silence, but silence has never prevented consequence. One day, the message always returns, often louder than before. It is sacrificing legacy in order to preserve position. The king fought desperately to remain on the throne, never realizing he had been invited to something greater than kingship itself. Royalty may be sweet and power may be sufficient, but when power is taken from royalty, what remains is shame. What you surround yourself with is also what you are, and the sacrifice that speaks on your behalf speaks on what you are. The king believed he was protecting his future. Instead, he buried it with every messenger he silenced. As the headers later said, a throne belongs to a season, but wisdom belongs to generations. The ruler who silenced the messenger does not silence destiny. He only hastens the day it arrives. All this was said by whatever you called me. See you next Thursday, and bye for now.